welcome to a cuppa with So Timeless with me, Rowena. It's lovely to see you again. Thank you for joining me. And if it's your first time, a very big welcome. So I have a few series on the go at the moment, and I really would like to apologize that I am being so slow about everything. But my health has not been the best, and it's been a bit of an uphill struggle getting around to fitting everything in every day. But I'm here today, and I'll do my best to actually finish what I'm setting out to do today so that I have a whole video to show you and don't have to come back to this again. Although it may have to be in two parts, so I apologize in advance if that happens. So what I'm doing today is going back to the resized pattern. It's the 1940s blouse, which I started doing a little while ago. So it's this one at the top here that I'm doing. And just going back to that, I'm making it in this gorgeous fabric. So, which you probably, if you've watched the previous videos, will remember. And I do apologize if you hear any background noises. I'm dog sitting my friend's dog, and he's insisting on being in here with me. So, and he's not sitting still at the moment. Hopefully he won't make too much noise. So I'd resized the pattern because this pattern was originally in a size round about 18 to 20. I am round about a size 14 on the top part, and so I have resized it down to a size 14, this particular pattern. I've made this one before in the size of the pattern, and I loved the blouse, and I really wanted to do it for myself. And I needed some more sizes to do for my business as well, for my shop. So I resized the pattern, which I talked you through, and probably need to do a little bit more detail at some point about the resizing of the pattern. But I talked you through basically what I was doing at the time. And we cut out the pattern together. So I've got the pattern pieces all cut out and ready to go. And yesterday I started preparing the pieces ready to do the sewing today, and in the hope of being able to do this video. Now, so today's video is all about putting the blouse together. Now, a few things with this blouse that's different to modern patterns is that the front facing is cut all in one with the actual blouse piece. So it's not a separate facing. So there's a yoke that fits onto this part, and then this folds over to form the facing on the front down like that. And that takes a little bit of doing and measuring to make sure you get that straight. But other than that, it's pretty much like any blouse you'd make nowadays. It has a collar, it has the yoke, there's cuffs for the sleeve. I'm not a big cuff person for sleeves, but it does look nice on these sleeves. Otherwise the sleeve is quite big and wide, so I probably will go ahead and put the cuffs on. I'll see as I'm making it. I might change my mind just because this blouse is for myself and I have to wear it, and I want to make sure I will wear it if it hopefully comes out the right size as well. But yeah, hopefully, well, I'll decide as I go along. There's a pocket which goes on the left side, and it's cut in two pieces because you sew the two pieces together to make the lining of the pocket and then sew the pocket in place. So it makes it really easy for sewing the pocket, because when you've sewn it together, you have the nice neat seams, and then it's easy to just sew it down without having to fold in and tuck in, and without any loose edges on the inside of the pocket. Not that this material is fraying very much, but it does make a nice neat finish off. That's the yoke bit for the front and back. And then The other thing that I was really thinking about and contemplating as I was preparing things yesterday was, do I want to use interfacing? Because I was doing a bit of research about interfacing in the 1940s and when did interfacing first become available. And interfacing, as we know it today as interfacing, was only available from the 1960s. So in the 1940s, there was no iron-on interfacing and there was not even any sew-on interfacing. What they would use if they wanted to firm up something, make something thicker, give it a bit of body, was use another layer of fabric and sew that in place. Now, this fabric in itself is a fairly I don't want to call it sturdy because it's not thick and sturdy, but it is a lovely thickness. It is thick enough, it's not very thin, and it does have a good body to it. And so I've come to the conclusion, and I'm hoping I'm not making a mistake, but I'm trying to keep this as authentic as possible, that for the cuffs I'm not putting interfacing on. And for the front facings, I'm not putting interfacing on, because although there's buttons, it's a double layer of a good thickness of fabric, and I think I can get away with that for the buttonholes. I was looking at a vintage shirt and contemplating what was done, and there definitely was no interfacing, and there wasn't even anything other than a double layer of fabric, and the buttonholes on that was absolutely fine and worked absolutely fine, and it's lasted all these years. So I think that will work. The only thing I have cheated on is I did put interfacing on the collar, because you want the collar to be able to fold down and lay nicely, and I think the interfacing will help that to happen. So a little cheat using interfacing when it shouldn't really have interfacing, but I think I can get away with that. And I managed to find a thread which is a very good match to the fabric. It matches extremely well. So I need to thread up my bobbin and get that all prepared. Otherwise, I have everything all ready to sew. What I thought I would do is, like I usually do, show you little bits of my sewing as I go along. And if I come across anything interesting, if I need to stop and explain anything, I will do that. Otherwise, if it all goes smoothly and well and there's nothing too major to tell you about that can't wait till the end, I will come back to you at the end of the video and tell you all about how it all went, anything I learned, anything I do differently, how the sizing has gone, did I need to make any further adjustments. I don't think it's too small, I really hope not. I have measured and it should fit me. It may need a bit of adjusting down. I haven't decided exactly how many of the darts I'm going to put in. Some of that's going to depend on sizing. I definitely will put the darts in on the bust line, obviously, because those are needed. But around the waistline, I don't want it too fitted into my waist because of all the swelling I get at the moment. But I do want some shape, so I will have a think about and play around with that and fit it on, which is why I may not finish this today. I may not get to the end of it, but let's see how I go. I'll come back to you in a few hours and let you know how things are going. See you soon. there. So you'll have seen I did the collar, just sewing that together. I haven't top stitched it. I can't even find it now. I haven't top stitched it because it will need to be put into place before it's top stitched. I've made that mistake before with this blouse. So that's ready to go though. And then I did the pocket, and it's taken me a little bit longer than it should have because I made a mistake the first time I did it, and I don't do it all. So things are not going quite to plan today, and I must be honest, it's because I am not at my best. So I'm contemplating whether to continue sewing today because I don't want to make any big errors. I'd like this blouse to go smoothly. However, I thought I'd just talk you through how I did this pocket because it's a little bit different, and I don't know how well it's going to show up because it's sewn on now, but it's not showing up very well on this fabric. It's got the flap, the little triangular flap at the top of the actual pocket. I don't know if you can see that, maybe if I hold it at an angle. So what I've basically done, let me show you on the pattern. So it's just, or maybe you can see better on that one, the flap there, the triangular flap at the top of the pocket. What I decided to do, there's different ways you could do this. So the way this one's done is the flap isn't separate and done over the top, but I wanted to give that effect that maybe it's a flap folded over. So I haven't stitched the flap down onto the pocket. I've actually left it loose so that it looks like it's been folded over. I just don't know how well this is showing up though on the camera, if you can see that, but that's what I've done. So everything else is stitched down all around the sides there to stitch it down, and it's all edged. The edging is all done here and here, but then the flap itself is loose so that it looks nice. Now, a little tip when you're putting a pocket on: if you've forgotten to put your markings onto the fabric that you're sewing the pocket onto, this is for a pocket on the top. Generally, the top of your pocket lines up with the bottom of your armhole. So that's a really good way of judging the level down where it needs to be. So top of the pocket goes with the level of the arm, the end of the arm, the bottom of the armhole. And if you want to know where to put it this way, it's in the middle. So you need to just figure out, and on this one, just need to be careful because you've got to fold over the facing still, but work out where the middle is. It doesn't matter if you come slightly over to the right, to the middle part. It can be closer to the middle. It shouldn't be closer to the underarm, but centered works best, centered in the center of the panel and at the level of the armhole. And I find that's a good way of cheating to get the placement correct when you've forgotten to put the markings on and you can't be bothered really to go and find the pattern and put the markings on, or to dig it all out and lay it all out and try and get it all in the right position with the markings. Or you may just not want the markings on your fabric and think, well, how am I going to do this? So you could measure and try and do it that way. So I've had a little feel around, look around to see if this is going to fit me, and I think it's going to be just a fit. But I am quite swollen up at the moment with my endometriosis, so it's not a very good judgment. But I have to account for that at the moment to make sure things fit me. And I think it's going to fit, I hope, but I've decided to leave off the darts for the moment. I may add them in once I've got the whole thing together, which is fine, I can do that. It's a sort of pattern where I could add them in as long as I haven't done the hem, I can add the darts in. I made a mistake earlier. I said the dots in the top part of the bust area. It doesn't actually have dots in the bust area, this particular top. The shaping is cut into the shaping. So that's one of the nice things. What I like about this blouse pattern is the fact that it doesn't have any dots in the top. So I'm going to be very honest with you. I was hoping to finish this blouse today and to be able to talk you through it all today and finish this video today, but I don't think that's going to be happening. I just not really feeling up to it. There's the next part is going to be gathering the front and the back onto the yoke, and that needs to be done really well and properly, because it needs to be a good fit. So I don't want to mess that up and make any mistakes with that, putting it in the wrong place, etc. Want to make sure I get this all correct. So what I'm going to do is rather leave this for another day, finish this video off with you, and you see, I can't even figure out now which way around this goes. It's just not a good time at all for me to be doing this. So I'm going to finish off for today, leave you with what I've done so far, and come back to you probably next week. I think I've got time next weekend, and hopefully can finish sewing this next weekend. That's my aim anyway. But I really would like to post this video because there's a bit of good information in here, some good tips for you. And it's been lovely to see you and chat to you again. I found my collar. There's my collar. It's all ready to go. So I've got my collar done, got my pocket done. And so the next things are, like I said, the yoke, the front and back yoke onto front and back onto the yoke, and the sleeves on cuffs onto the sleeves. Those also need to be actually, I need to decide. I don't normally do it that way around, but I'll see, because those need to be gathered as well, so I may well do that as well. And then it's starting to sew all the bits together. But I wanted to explain to you about the pocket and the big mess I made with them, so luckily it unpicked nicely. And then I will be back soon again with part 2 of this particular part of the video to show you what happens next and how it all comes together. Anything you want to comment on, any tips and tricks you have, please do comment down below. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe. I'd love to have you on my team, and I look forward to hearing from you and to seeing you soon again. Take care, have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.